All right, another one, Augmented Brass by Arturia, brand new. And just coming out today. They sent it over for me to make this little video, but they're not paying me or anything like that. Although I do have a connection with them. So you want to take everything I say with a grain of salt. But hopefully this video will help you decide if this is something you want to spend your hard-earned money on. So let's check out Augmented Brass, play with some patches, and show you some of the essential things that you might want to change if you open up a patch and you want to, customize it to fit your project. So I'm just going to start from scratch and we'll go through the library and see what we've got for sounds. I'd say this library is definitely geared towards people who are doing cinematic type stuff. We're going to look at some of the basic controls, and with every Arturia plugin, you're starting to see some similarities between all of them. And this one isn't working with my complete control just yet, and I'm not sure if that's just because I've got an early version. I do know the other ones, augmented strings and such, do work with complete control, so you get all of the knobs already assigned, the macros and stuff like that. So I'm sure that is coming. Quite beautiful trumpet sound. Some of these types of libraries end up having sounds that sound a little bit more like an old Casio keyboard, and so I am liking the sound of the trumpet already. The Morph macro sets the balance between natural and synthesized timbres. So this is the Morph macro right here. We've got two different layers that we're kind of going between, and if I click on the Advanced tab, you can see our layers right here. So we've got layer A and layer B, and then in layer A, we've got two sampled sounds, and then two synth sounds. And it looks like we can go in and turn those off or on, and then we can change the synth preset that we've got in there. So we've got different forms of synthesis: analog, granular, harmonic, simpler, and wavetable. And then here on the sampler side, you can see that we do have access to the samples for the library as well. I'll turn off layer B for a sec. So there's trombones. Here's trumpets. And then we get layer B in there as well. And I've got my Morph wheel attached to this control on my keyboard for right now. And all I did for that was to go over to the MIDI settings in this little gear icon, and then just assign whatever I want. And all I have to do is hit the Learn button and start moving stuff. And then I can also go over to the Advanced tab and click on the Modulation tab. And here, not only do you see LFOs to start with, but we've got some other things. We've got functions. Random, this is a random modulator. So these are all very similar to what we have in Pigments. And then at the bottom, if you click on keys, that's where you're going to find velocity, aftertouch, mod wheel, and keyboard controls. So here I can assign whatever I want to the modulation wheel. And if I want to change that, I can click on the layers right here. You can see that mod wheel is assigned to these certain things. What if I wanted to attach the mod wheel to the resonance? I would have to take off one of these four things that are assigned to the mod wheel right now. I don't really need layer B volume on there. And then now what I can do is just mouse over the top right here and start dragging up. And you can see that resonance is now attached to the mod wheel. There's the mod Morph. Okay, this one's great. Certain Doom. Let's check out this patch. And this patch is pretty sweet because it's monophonic, so watch what happens when I play. Oh wow, it's pretty pretty cool patch. So you hold one note down and then take with the other note on and off. Let's go change the glide time. So I'll leave that one up to you. If you think the Brahm is not dead, then Certain Doom is going to be your favorite patch. Another beautiful patch. Let's try another patch. Yeah, this one's got an impact on the top of it. Turn that off. Let's try some of the articulations out and see what they're all about. You know what I'll do is I'll go new preset right here. The chamber brass, orchestral brass, that must be like the big ensemble, and then process brass, so bizarre sounding stuff, and then additional samples, in addition to the synthesis engines that they've got in here as well. So let's go to the chamber brass, horn and trumpet staccatissimo. So I might want to play with the release on this. Starting to sound a little too Casio if I don't have the release set up properly. So you're not getting into some of those really intense horns that you might have in an orchestral library. You want to hear really great brass stuff, just go rewatch the Matrix movies. And Don Davis, like incredible composer who just used brass in such a powerful way. I think it's one of the most innovative soundtracks in the last few decades, that's for sure. And lots of swelly stuff. And just to show you how to set up the LFO, look over to the modulation. And actually, we've got to go back to our filter right here. And we're going to say, all right, let's click on LFO 1 and down at the bottom. And as soon as you've done that in this bar, now we can go and adjust this little thing right here. And however we raise it up, it's going to be like starting at this point and going back and forth like that. And so we could start a little bit lower and then increase this a little bit higher. And then we can go to the modulation here. And we can play with the rate, so we can make this a lot slower. Okay, so we're hearing the filter changing. And you notice how when it's set on LFO, it just keeps cruising through that cycle. As soon as we set it to key trig, it starts at the beginning. So it's resetting the sort of phase of the LFO to start at the same spot every time you play a note. But watch what happens when we get through it. Just keeps going. If we have it set to envelope, then it means it's going to play through this cycle once, and that's it. And then just stay at that point. So that's using the LFO, which is not, eminently obvious when you first open up the software. So figuring out how to work with your LFOs, how to go in there and change an LFO that's already set up on a patch that isn't set up the way you want it. Maybe you want it to go to the click of your song. So if I go and press play, we want that to sync up. We're going to set it to key trig, and I'm going to set the rate to sync straight 3, 4. And then with this amp, we can adjust how the intensity overall of everything that's assigned to this LFO. And the best part about this, just like in Pigments, is that when you go back to your main layers page here, you can see some visual feedback of what's happening with that control. Absolutely love that with these virtual instruments, just to have some kind of reminder, oh yeah, this is the thing you're controlling right now. I don't know why every synth doesn't have that, but it's not necessarily the case. And then we've got the effects and then the macros, which show up on the main page right here. So you can go in and tweak what is showing up under, or what is being tweaked by this morph control on the main page. So a lot of people are just going to load up the patches and just play around with this color. But it's nice to know what is that actually assigned to. You can go over to the Advanced tab and see the color right here. It's assigned to these specific things. So if we go back to layers, there we can see color right here. So if I click on color, we can see also what was assigned over here in the macro. These 4 things, here are the 4 things right here. We can go back over here and say, okay, I also want the color control to adjust the resonance right here. So all I have to do with this bottom bar kind of open down there is just mouse over the top of this knob, so not on the knob, but just above it, start dragging up, and now you can see filter resonance is also being controlled by this color macro here on the main page. So it is really nice how these things are all kind of this preset thing, but they're very easy to go in and tweak after the fact. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more of an idea what's in there, how to go in and tweak the sounds, and let me know what you think about it in the comments. And thanks so much for watching, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell and all that, and I'll see you in the next video.